taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to look at a video in the Admiral Hipper. Yes, it's a great video, great replay rather, game I played with OneMadTrucker. Now this was recorded earlier in December when they had the, I think it was 3 times they had going on, and then there was the extra bonuses and whatnot. So that's going to attribute to the experience here at the end, as you will see. Now before we get too far into the battle, I'll also mention just a few things. Firstly, I just took a look at OneMadTrucker's Twitch page. He's at 49 followers. Keep in mind, at 50 followers, he's giving away a Murmansk. So if you haven't done so already, check out OneMadTrucker on Twitch and hit the old follow button on his channel. You'll get yourself a chance of winning Murmansk. And not only that, I mean, you know, OneMadTrucker is a great person as well. Fun to watch his Twitch channel. The second thing I wanted to mention before we get too far into the battle here as well is just a general shout out to the clan, Navy Gaming America. That's the clan I'm in right now. Really like this clan, great group of people, and you know, we're getting organized here as well for skirmishes and when clans get introduced and clan battles and all that stuff. So I always put the NGA website in my video comment section below. If you guys want to join NGA, you know, just click on the website. It'll take you over there. You can fill in the application. One of our recruiters will get back to you right away, or well, you know, usually within a few days. They'll set up the interview, and then blam, you're in. So fantastic. You know, be sure to check that out, especially if you guys aren't in a clan and you want to join one. I would highly recommend NGA. We've got some great people in the clan. Alright, so that's my little public service announcement thing there, done. Now we're moving into the actual battle. So you see Admiral Hipper here. We are on Land of Fire. This is, I do not have the final hull upgrade on the Admiral Hipper as of yet. So keep that in mind as well, just in terms of hit points, right? So we're cruising around here. OneMadTrucker is in a battleship. I am in my cruiser here, so we're trying to decide where are we going to go. Based on where we spawned, I said, well, you know, let's head towards B, but we're not going to be too concrete on B as of yet, right? Just sort of heading out here, seeing where the enemy starts popping up. Fully expect them to start popping up at A and C, and in fact, yeah, that's exactly where they are, right? You can see A is being capped now, enemies are starting to show up at C, B looks relatively untouched. Now, doing this sort of strategy, taking B on Land of Fire like this, it works for other maps as well, especially considering B is usually the middle point. Very, very risky, because you're coming into this point, there's very little cover, and enemy battleships, specifically enemy battleships, can start shooting you from either side, right? Because you're well within their range. So you got to keep that in mind. You know, you don't want to get too committed on this B plan here as well. For Trucker and myself, it just so happened to work out for us. I mean, the enemy battleships are all on their way over to A right now, well, except the Tirpitz, right? We can see that some of the enemy ships have figured out what's going on here. But luckily, not only did Trucker and myself come here to the middle sort of area, but we do have another ally with us, so that's good. Now, I took a pretty big hit there, so I need to start playing a little more cautiously. Trucker's in his Amagi, so he's got, you know, lots of hit points. Amagi's an excellent ship, in fact. So he's pushing in, you know, he's attempting to take the B point. I'm going to provide cover to him in the background here. It's debatable whether or not I'm in a proper position for a cruiser, but, you know, frankly, in a German cruiser, you can't necessarily be out there, be too close to the front, as you would maybe in another cruiser, like an American cruiser, maybe a Japanese cruiser. Your German cruiser is a lot more squishy than that, so you really do have to keep your distance and use your range to your advantage. You really want to use that range to your advantage, because at long range, obviously, you know, the enemies are going to have a harder chance of hitting those citadels and doing significant damage to you, whereas at a close range, it's going to be really easy for them to do, especially considering, you know, the lack of armor on an Admiral Hipper, frankly. Not a whole lot of armor on this ship. I do still really enjoy the Admiral Hipper, though, don't get me wrong. A lot of people, actually, it makes me a little angry, a lot of people talking about how much they hate the German cruisers, and I I can understand. I mean, there are some issues with the German cruisers, right? They're not perfect. Some of these issues have been addressed already. For example, on the Admiral Hipper, lowering it into the water more, right? To bring those citadels below the waterline. In your Nuremberg and in your Königsberg at tier 5 and 6, you have, or rather they have, reduced the chance of your engine and your steering becoming incapacitated, right? So they're still working on it, but for me, it's just, I see people complain about the Admiral Hipper and about the German cruisers specifically, and it makes me angry because they are not playing it like it's a different ship. They're not playing it like it's a German cruiser. They're playing it like it's, just another cruiser. They're thinking all cruisers are the same, so we can play them all the same. Well, you can't. You just can't, all right? And it just grinds my gears when I see that. But anyway, I did manage to kill the Thotgor, so that was fantastic. And we did manage to actually get in there and cap B, kind of, right? It's being contested right now. We don't actually have it, but we still do have an ally there fighting it out. Now, Trucker and I, yeah, I mean, we've been duking it out over here. We did take out an Thotgor, so that's great. But now we've got a battleship to deal with. We're coming into sea here as well, so we're coming under fire of the enemies that are at sea. You can see they do have one cruiser and a destroyer over here. Now, Trucker is still focused on the battleship, right? And that's good. That's where we want him. So while he's doing that, rather than letting the destroyer and the cruiser put shots into him, I'm started to engage the destroyer and cruiser as I could. But I'm also taking a nice big turn here, mainly because the focus is still going to be on the ships here at B, right? These guys are still really close, especially this Tirpitz. I mean, I had no idea this Tirpitz was here. In fact, Trucker was like, Gord, do you see the Tirpitz over there? I was like, no. What Tirpitz? Look around, oh, that Tirpitz. Okay, yeah, I see him. So immediately start lining up torpedoes, right? Because he was really close, but my team was all over that, and Tirpitz is gone. Didn't need my torpedoes, as it turns out. So okay, great. Immediate threat is gone. We've got some more battleships in the background, but keep in mind there are still those ships right there at sea, right? We gotta keep these guys in mind, because right now that the Tirpitz is gone, these guys are basically the closest enemies we have, so therefore, biggest threat for us at this time. Now I'm going to start focusing on the York here. Now I do have high explosive loaded up. I was firing at battleships, and I do actually expect to be able to take a few shots off at the destroyer that was back there. So you can see I was hesitant towards queuing up the armor piercing, but eventually I do actually queue up my armor piercing, loading armor piercing now, because the destroyer has popped into smoke. I can't see him, I don't know what's going on, so if I can get some nice shots off at this York, I will take them. Armor piercing is loaded up. I've got high explosive ready to go again. This is something I do quite often, right? You see me do it often enough, is actively switching between shell types. In all of the shots, right? Basically I do it all the time. I did take a shot off at the destroyer with the armor piercing because the York had gone away, so that was kind of tragic. But anyway, loading up high explosive once again. York is coming back into view. I was alright, okay, queue up armor piercing now. I'm not going to need the high explosive because as soon as this York comes around that island, I'm going to pump armor piercing into him. Trucker is still with me. You can see that we are still trying to control the center of the map here, and it's working out. We did manage to take and hold B now, finally, but the enemy still does have the advantage with A and C, so yeah, we're gonna have to do something about this. Now, the York is moving away from C, and we know at C that there's only one last destroyer over there, so yeah, there he is there. If we can get that guy gone, we can push into C. So you can see that I did more or less completely ignore the York now, right? I'm looking around and I can see, well, we got to do something here. So suddenly I'm not so concerned about getting that York gone. I want to get the destroyer gone so that I can move in and cap C. If we can cap C, we can start closing up the gap in points, giving our team the lead in cap areas, and then hopefully, take a victory from this as well. So that is what my plan is now. And we talk about this all the time, changing your plans as things happen. Don't get focused on just one alternative or just one solution. There are always multiple solutions to every situation you find yourself in, and you need to adapt accordingly. It's been talked about before with some of the friends in TeamSpeak as well. It's almost like a mind game with the enemy, right? You're reacting to what you assume the enemy is going to be doing. and then you're trying to react to that. Same thing when you're firing off your torpedoes. Well, you're firing off torpedoes on the assumption that the enemy will be there when your torpedoes arrive. So you're trying to get into the mind of the enemy, right? And trying to think what they're doing and putting things in place so that when they get there, there'll be torpedoes to take them out. There'll be some good shells coming in to take them out. Something to that effect, right? Is what you're basically attempting to do here. So we did manage to take out the destroyer at sea. So fantastic. Moving into sea. You can see I'm taking the northern route into sea. Trucker is right behind me, taking that little southern route into sea, and we are going to be capping this point here. The York is still back there, basically running away. I'm not chasing him down. He's not taking himself out of the battle because it is a cruiser, and I think it's about 32 knots is what the York has on her for top speed, but I'm still not going to chase her down. One of my allies got a nice shot in there, took that York out. Fantastic. We right now have the ship advantage. The biggest thing here, though, everything looks pretty rosy, right? We've got lots of ships remaining compared to the enemy ships. The enemy ships that are remaining are, they've taken some hits. We're moving into the cap point, sea cap point here to give us the advantage. Things are looking rosy. Gotta remember, though, this is Land of Fire. And on Land of Fire, the battleships love to duke it out over there at the A point on the east or west side of the map. That is where they go. That's where they love to go. Yeah, a lot of my battleships are over there, and obviously Trucker's not, right? And a lot of my, one of my battleships over there because we only have 2 left, and my cruisers are over there as well. They are going to die. Yeah, and this happens all the time. I find over at A, they're duking it out over there for basically the entire battle, half the battle at least. And then whoever wins that battle usually is going to win the overall match, because a lot of your ships are going to go over there to A to help out, and most of the time they are just going to die. Yeah, it's tragic. It happens. Oh, I hate it. But anyway, so we can't let things be too rosy right now. We can't get too full of ourselves. Even though, 3 enemy ships remaining, we can still lose this thing. So we still have to try, right? We still have to think strategically here. We still have to make the right decisions, the right calls to make sure that we don't die and just give the match to the enemy here. So okay, sea is capped, fantastic. Trucker and I are talking now. What are we going to do? We discussed, continue heading south and flanking the enemy from the rear. We were looking at the time remaining, a little over 7 minutes. We were looking at how many points the enemy has versus us, and we were saying to ourselves, no, it's just going to take too long to continue south and flank around the enemy. You can see one enemy now is putting pressure on C, or about to, so yeah, turn, and we are going back to B. Sorry, enemy putting pressure on B. So we're going back to B. We are going to defend the B point, and then hopefully once we have defended the B point, we can then move into A and take A as well. General plan as of now, that we're moving in. So Trucker immediately starts putting shots into the turrets. I'm putting shots in the turrets as well. I have armor piercing loaded, which is a little odd. Armor piercing does some good damage on battleships at these higher tiers, but only when you hit them in certain locations. Mainly, you need to hit them plunging fire down, right? Like that shot right there. It's coming down and it's going through the deck armor. If you're too close and you're just beating up against the side of the armor on the ship, you're not going to do anything at all. Generally speaking, though, I don't keep my armor piercing loaded against battleships. I'll queue up some high explosive like I did right now, and I will start setting fire to that guy. Really surprised I didn't ground myself there, actually, but I didn't, so that's good. So shots going into the turrets. We need to get this guy down, and we need to get this guy gone. Luckily for me, luckily and unfortunately for me, the turrets is focused on Trucker. And so it's good for me in that I'm not taking the damage, I'm not going to die, but it's bad in that, Trucker is an ally here, and it's kind of nice to have a battleship, especially in a Magi, to work with to help take down enemy ships. So Trucker managed to take 1 torpedo there, but he's still alive, fantastic. Barely any health though. He's on fire. and I do believe he's flooding right now, so yeah, it's not going to go well. There he goes. It sucked. But anyway, I mean, that was still a good game by Trucker. It did a lot of support here for me, so that was excellent. So we have both caps. We managed to take out the Turpets. There's no one putting any pressure on the B cap, so now we're going to move over into C. You can see the points are still fairly close. The enemy's in the lead, though, and it's now 3v3, right? They just took out another one of my ships, so alright. This is where all of your little decisions throughout the battle, this is where they all sort of start culminating, right? And this is where it's going to start biting you in the ass if you didn't make the right decisions. Now, what I mean by that is if you were playing it really risky the entire battle and you were trading off a lot of your hit points for a lot of those risky moves you were making, well, as you're coming into this situation, you might not have the hit points to actually survive it, and it might be very tragic for your team. Now, luckily for me, I didn't make that many risky decisions, and the risky decisions I did make, I had support from Trucker to help me out, right? We were sharing HP there, so it worked out in this situation. But if you're flying or sailing solo, I should say, you got to kind of want to keep this in mind, right? Try to reserve as much hit points as you can, as much as you possibly can for the late game. As you're getting to the end, just to make sure that you have the hit points to do what you need to do to get the victory for your team. So putting shots into the North Carolina, setting fires to this guy, that is fantastic. I still do have one destroyer and one battleship left. So we can see my Turpets over there. Turpets is engaging the North Carolina. While that is going on, I'm going to continue to put shots into the North Carolina. Ideally burn this guy down, right? That is the plan. Hopefully my Turpets can get a nice shot into the North Carolina, take his health down, get that guy gone. Because if we can kill that guy, we might actually win this. It's very close right now, right? 2 enemy ships remaining. They still do have the lead. There's, just about 3 minutes left in the battle, so if we lose, or if the time counts down, the enemy's going to win it. Luckily, Turpets just got a nice big hit into the North Carolina. We saw it there. North Carolina is burning away. There he goes. He's dead. I managed to get the kill. Fantastic. 1 enemy ship remaining, and we are now in the lead. We're going to win. Fantastic. So just the Cleveland left over there. Just need to put some shots into this guy, see if we can't get him killed before the timer runs out. We still do have my destroyer friend up here. That is fantastic, and I've got my Turpets ally in the background moving in to start putting shots into the Cleveland. So fantastic. There we go. Nice big hits from the Turpets. That was great. Cleveland manages to take out my destroyer ally. That's unfortunate, but now the Cleveland is presenting a nice broadside to me. I've got high explosive loaded, but I've loading up armor piercing. Not needed. Managed to take out the Cleveland, and we win. Fantastic. Yeah, it was a pretty close battle. Now, taking a look here, so 11,000 experience, right? Obviously, this was during, I think it was 3 times and all the other stuff they give you. 268,000 credits wasn't too shabby at all. You can see OneMadTrucker, myself, top 2 on the team. Trucker really played a great game there as well. Fantastic game by Trucker. Well over 200,000 credits earned, 11,000 experience, so that was great because obviously, saving up for the rune at this time. Can't wait to get that rune. So that is today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Take a little something out of it as well. Just taking some glory shots here of the Edmund. I do like the Edmund, actually. Not as a ship in the game to play, but from a historical standpoint. And I've been thinking about putting up a historical video on the Edmund, just because it has a really, really awesome history. Did anyone notice that there's actually only 3 funnels on the Edmund? The 4th one on the back is actually fake. Yeah, that's part of the history of the Edmund. Anyway, as always, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching it through. Leave any comments you have for me. Love reading those comments and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Check out OneMadTrucker's Twitch page as well. Keep in mind, 1 more follower and he's going to be giving away a Murmansk. Check out the NGA clan site too if you guys want to join NGA. We're always looking for new members. We just upgraded the TeamSpeak channel here as well to accommodate more people. So we've got lots of space, lots of room. Be sure to check us out. And yeah, I guess as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.